morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Jim and James. Another beautiful day, a hot cup of coffee, and a fantastic guest, Cindy. James, a little story as I always do. It's one of the.
This could go anywhere.
Yeah, it could. It actually.
Cindy's reliving all of her life choices and wondering what you're going to pick out.
Oh, she is. If she is not sweating right now, she should be. No, this is a good story. Knowing Cindy from the industry and such, but I had the ability and I was blessed to sit into one of the Strength Finder courses that she trained. And it was great, enlightening the whole bit and the way that she speaks and delivers it and all that. But I just have to tell you what really hit me was after it, where Cindy, I think she somehow remembered a few of my strengths and in a hallway conversation brought that up. And I'm just like, wow, Cindy, you really do care about people and care about, development and care about personal development and getting better and such like that. So I just want to thank you personally for that time, because it did stick with me and it is forever in my memory cells. So with that,
wow.
Well, James, please officially bring Cindy in for us, if you would, please.
Yeah, Cindy's back. Now, since the last time, I believe, now VP of Operations at Southern Gas Association. Is that right? Which means she does all the work.
That is true.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Cindy, it's always a pleasure to have you on. You're one of our favorites out there. Jim, I thought you were going to tell the story when we sat around at an SGA event and Cindy read us like a fortune teller at the dinner table. You remember that?
That's where I thought we were going.
we would tell the our strengths, and she would tell us all about us.
Oh yeah. That's right. Where were we at?
That's the greatest party trick ever. I mean,
we were in the hill country. Were we in the hill country? Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I thought you were going to pull that one out, but if you don't know, Cindy is very passionate about, as she said, which I love this statement, feeding people, right? Feeding them, whether it be leadership, and then she also just likes to cook and entertain and have a good time. But Cindy, thank you for joining us. Second time back. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. This is truly an honor. I've been following your show as it's developed, and I really enjoy all of the content that you bring and what you're doing for the industry as well.
I'm glad you're back because I get to geek out with you a little bit more. I think we laughed about that last time. You might have been one of the first guests that we kind of went down one of those tangents where Jim sat there in silence and wondered when it was going to end. But you're passionate, like I said, about leadership, opening minds to new information, diversity, inclusion. Honestly, Cindy, that's what you get when you get Cindy Mitchell. Yep. And you bring a message along with SGA that a lot of companies and people just simply don't talk about enough sometimes, in my opinion. And y'all are bringing it into the conversation, and I think that says a lot about the organization and also you as a VP there. Cindy, let's start with something that I want to start asking more. I know you read a lot, podcasts, probably Audible, whatever I don't care how you read. What are you reading?
So the two books that I just completed, and I say completed because first I get them on Audible or some variation of that so that I can listen to the content while I'm working out, because I figure if I'm engaging my muscles and my brain, the material sticks better for me. But this one, so I brought some props to be a little more visual today. So this book is called The Leader's Guide to Unconscious Bias. It's Pamela Fuller and Mark Murphy. Both are consultants with Franklin Covey, leadership experts.
Sure.
And this book is so good. Of course, then I buy the book and I put my little sticky tabs all in it for my class or just conversation.
Yep.
Where I geek out on it even more. But this is a really cool book for taking and uncovering our unconscious bias, because everybody has them. So like everybody has bias. There's nobody without it, nobody in the whole wide world. But this kind of brings it back to how to help build better teams. So it really talks about unconscious bias and then bridging gaps in relationships. So this is one. And then the other one is everyday bias. And this one's by Howard Ross. So it's identifying and navigating unconscious bias. Now, this is a really updated version. And so it has a lot of newer, more recent real life examples, but they do a lot of studies, and they give you the results of a lot of studies in this book. So these are two that I just finished, and I'm constantly looking for my next book. So
right. And Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong though, because I've seen there's a lot of communications coming out from SGA, and one of the trainings was actually unconscious bias, correct?
Yes,
and you're leading that.
I facilitate that. It's a really cool workshop. So what we've made, the topic, or I mean, the title is actually Unconscious Bias Busters, which is catchy, a little hokey, but I think we're going to change the name of it to something with a little more depth, so people really know what they're getting. What we've done is create a safe space for leaders in our industry to explore and identify what biases they may have. And then we take that and really wrap it around the talent development life cycle. And that's really where the focus of that workshop. We do a lot of exercises. I had a lady who is vice chair of our Inclusion and Diversity Council, and she sat in the class, and she was really monitoring or evaluating the class for her team to see if she wanted to put them through it. And at the very end, she said, you know what? I did not expect to learn anything from this class, and I did, and it was great. And so I just thought that was
what
really
an endorsement.
Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
Powerful.
Well, Cindy, let's see, October of last year, I was put over HR as well. So brand and human resources. And so obviously I know, right? What a liability.
Yeah.
And so it's terrifying, but part of it was really, what my big sell on it was about the brand, right? If I'm going to curate the brand, then I need to know how people are brought in and how people are offboarded, right? And so kind of tying it all together, it allowed really to start going to work on that. And diversity and inclusion is a big part of it. And I love this angle that y'all are taking with unconscious bias. So I know I'll be signing up. And you said it's a workshop, right? So
it is. Awesome. It's, and like I said, it's really interactive, and we get the. I can't wait till we can do it in person. We can walk around, but we do breakout rooms, cool. And so it's in the Teams platform, so that the breakout rooms work. And but yeah, like I said, they do some exercises to really open your mind. Because obviously our brains play tricks on us every day. Mm-hmm. And so that's how we get through our day without it being painful. And so it really helps you just explore how easily your mind tricks you.
And it's a little bit about protection when you roll down to it all, right? I mean, that's okay. Dogs bark. My daughter walked in a minute ago. It'll be fine. Okay. But I think it's your brain really trying to protect yourself when it starts, but then you kind of create those habits or those paradigms a little bit. And it's a really interesting subject. I know we'll share the info when we roll this thing out. We'll be sure to plug it, share it in the comments. If you have any, questions you want to ask Cindy, you are the person actually leading the workshop, correct? One of the people.
Nope, it's me. It's me.
Cindy, good old Cindy.
It's just me. So you can find me on the website at
absolutely.
Yeah. So the only other books that I really read for, like, I would say fun reading.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was about to ask. What was it? I'm sorry.
Cookbooks.
Oh, that's fun.
Recipe magazines. I just love looking at that stuff. But other than that, I really read for development. For like you were saying, I love feeding people. I also love to be fed, and so different books, various books, really help feed that appetite for helping others.
It's funny to see somebody who kind of jumps into it like I do. I listen to it while I work on other stuff. I know people are like, you can't multitask. That's not legal. It's more osmosis for me. And then as I begin to really parse through the book, I'll have a physical copy and I'll make my notes. And I use that for when I speak or when I lead or, whatever it might be. So It's nice to see somebody else with similar habits because people think I'm crazy. Look at him shaking his head.
Think?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. James, is it wrong for me to say nerd alert right now? I mean, is that okay?
No, I think Cindy gets it. She knows she's a nerd.
I mean, and I say that with love and affection and admiration of you two, the passion that you both have, for books and reading. James is always getting on my case saying, Jimmy, you got to read this book. You got to do it and such like that. But it's, we all do it in our own way and such like that. But I'm very much in admiration of you two with that. Cindy, let's go down. It's not too far or, from a rabbit hole. We just went down there. The SGA has really been getting into, these topics of diversity, inclusion, unconscious bias. And wow, these are topics on the agenda 10 years ago. We didn't see them, 5 years ago, we didn't see them. And really, when you look at the last 18 months, 2 years, they really have popped up. Why is it so important? Give us, bring me into this, this nerdy world, so to speak, and enlighten me and feed me, please.
All right. I love the question. It's unfortunate we weren't having these conversations 10 years ago and 5 years ago.
We might not have been having so many now.
Yeah, that's right. So anytime, Strength Finders focuses on strength.
Yep.
Extended disc, so that they're focusing on what you do right. Right. Extended disc is all about first understanding yourself so that then you can understand others. And really, once you expand that out and apply it to teams, it's really about welcoming the diversity of your teams.
Okay.
So it's really about appreciating diversity. Now, that's not just what we think of as race or ability or disabilities, but truly appreciating diverse ways to think about things, diverse ways to behave. So really, all of those tools in our toolbox beat the same drum as why diversity and inclusion is so important. So we have increase in productivity. We have increase in engagement. Because now I'm here and I'm heard and I feel like I belong. I'm welcome to be different than you.
Yep.
A diverse team is more creative.
Yeah.
They're better problem solvers. So focusing on what people do right, embracing the diversity, the diverse perspective, their diverse background, their diverse experience, all of those things, it does feel good. It feels good as a leader. It feels good to be on that team. But I mean, Gallup wouldn't be behind it for decades if it wasn't really a business strategy.
Yes.
Right? It's a business strategy that has a wild side effect to make people better.
Yep. And we can learn from each other more each and every day. And again, you take James and we're very diverse. Well, I mean, we're very different, right?
We're very inclusive. Let's put it that way to deal with Jim. No, I'm kidding. We are diverse, but that's what makes our show, what it is and our communication. I was going to bring up, I speak on a topic called managing and leading people not like you.
Yeah.
And I have some stats in there and I always pull this out because there's always stats people, there's always stat nerds going, well, show me the numbers. Yeah, because that's what I say. And I just pulled them while I swear I was paying attention, but I was also doing this. I pulled them and these are great stats though. 67% of candidates are looking for diverse workplaces, in a time where we're struggling to hire. 35% of diverse companies outperform those that lack diversity. You want 2.3 times more cash flow per employee, go to diverse company. These are numbers that are like dream numbers you would want, and they're happening for diverse companies. You want some data to back it up?
That's right.
All day long.
Gallup compiles it every day for strengths and strengths-based based organizations, easy for me to say.
Yeah.
But, I will say that if 75% of companies are working for diversity and inclusion and have strategies and programs, 40% of the time, they're making things worse. So it's really about, you have to get past, and see, this is where leadership, I'll tell anybody in any of my workshops, classes, whatever it is, the best thing about leadership is you have to bring it. Yeah. I can't impart it to you. If you're not willing to step up, then it's going to be obvious here soon, because you have to bring it, and you have to bring it every day. And so we all have bad days, but
I like that.
Yeah, you have to bring it.
And guess what? Some days that day may start at 4 when you've got to catch a flight or drive, 2 hours to another city to catch a flight. It may start, it may run till 2 a.m. because that event, you got to prep for the speaking spot or whatever it might be, right? But you don't get a choice to shelve that.
No, yesterday, as I was finishing a communication strategy class that I was co-facilitating with one of my colleagues, it was raining from the ceiling in my kitchen.
Uh-oh, what happened? What do we do?
Air conditioner overflow, rained through from the attic, rained through the second floor, which finally made its way to the first floor. So we needed to go check it. So yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And guess what? Cindy brought it yesterday still, I bet.
Bring it every day.
That's right. That's right.
Cindy, while we're on it, and again, I don't want to seem like we're beating a dead horse, but the Natural Gas Champions program through the SGA, I have to tell you, I'll speak on behalf of James and I, that it absolutely helped us to guide Coffee with Jim and James throughout the last year. Arguably, too, our friends over Connections for Life, who I would say it also helped shape them. It really, during the podcast to, help spread a positive message, a very real message, about energy and such like that. And I hope and pray we did it justice. James, Cindy, we can all fare in with that. But okay, how is the, Natural Gas Champions program going? Where are we at with that? What do you think? How is it doing for our industry? Has this last year been a huge challenge for that?
Actually, we've had a lot of success with our Natural Gas Champions course. Bill is primary leader on that course and keeps the data and information updated. And it's really just a popular program because it leaves people better equipped to discuss topics that they may be very passionate about, but they understand that passion sometimes creates more emotional responses than diffusing emotional responses. And so, another thing with our industry is there are still silos.
Yes, absolutely.
So, if you do one part of the industry, you may not really be able to speak about the other aspects of the industry.
So, Cindy, I learned that every day on the show, that I know nothing. And I'm honest about it. Luckily, I have a platform to where I get to learn from all different segments. But we were on one this week, and I told Jim, I said, I'm going to be honest, at the beginning, y'all are saying things I don't have any clue what it is, because this isn't a segment because we're so siloed. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So it just equips people to be better, to speak and diffuse emotion, to have conversations with your neighbors at the block party or your family at the Christmas table or Thanksgiving table. And, and I mean, it is still a very, very popular program. And so
good.
I think leaving with that elevator speech, and SGA has just combined some of those elevator speeches into a flip book. It's available on our website that you can just go and check out some of these real life elevator speeches and just kind of hear from other people how they put those terms into their own voice and words that they would use or feel comfortable using. I just think it's really, it level sets, I think, where people are more comfortable talking from.
Okay.
I loved it. I mean, I went through it. That's what I was going to mention was the elevator pitch was the kind of the thing that brought it home for me because I attend a lot of webinars and you know, I'll go through trainings. We're a training company, you know, but sometimes you go through a webinar and at the end of it, you're like, if you don't have some kind of way to apply it or walk away with action is what I always call it.
Yeah.
I felt like giving that, I had a tool when I left to where if you're not somebody wired to go figure it out yourself, sometimes you're not going to do it. It's like, man, that's great. I'm going to bring that back. And then you get busy and the world catches up, right? So being able to walk away with some kind of tangible evidence and something that I could use, I think that's a really nice part of it. Cindy, in the pre-interview and also under your hobbies, I mentioned it already. You said, I like feeding people, both from a leadership perspective and entertainment perspective. I love that. I think it's a great way to put it. Where did your love for growing leaders begin? And then secondly, why hang your hat on that?
Okay. So I'll start off without like needing space on your couch.
We've already done that
I'm not
today.
going to the office, right? Okay. So my mom was elected to the School Board of Education in the city of St. Louis during desegregation, which was a very tense time. And I was, between the ages of 2 and 3 while that was happening. I loved watching her bring people together and solve problems. Fast forward in school, I was always the speech and debate person, oddly enough, student council. And I really had some cool leadership foundation opportunities that arose out of those activities. And then fast forward again, at 24, I successfully ran for office, which was a large responsibility, and figured out quickly that I needed help. Like I am not doing my best work here in a way that solved problems and brought people together. And so all of those self-assurance qualities that help get you elected aren't necessarily the best ones to bring people together and solve problems. And so I had a leadership development coach, an executive coach, and man, I fell in love with the opportunity to, of course, learn, but better equip all of the people around me to just be better and do better, and to see how that pays off exponentially. So, through that, our association did training. We did a lot of technical training, but we didn't do any leadership development training. And so I brought that to the clerks of Texas. I grew to a point where it was recognized nationally for that and was able to participate some really cool national organizations and roles. And so that's really kind of the progress or the timeline of where this developed and grew. And then why is it that I hang my hat? So my favorite word in the English language is encourage, because at its Latin root, it means to give heart. So when we encourage people, we give them our heart. And you are constantly, as a leader, trying to encourage and equip. And so it's really the only way that you can give of yourself and serve them well so that they're better and other people will benefit from that as well.
I just want to jump in real quick. When you say encourage, I really, that just hit a chord with me, because I think when we encourage people, they get a confidence. And if they have that confidence that they can do it, they can do it. So many times I see people that I know can do something, but they just don't have the confidence. And if we just give them that little bit of encouragement, like, go ahead, be free to fail. Probably they won't fail. They're fearing of failing. But if we give them that encouragement, what's that?
Failure is so subjective, right? I mean, and you create that environment. I think it just feeds itself. One of the things that we pride ourselves kind of on in our houses, well, not just this house physically, but Energy World Net, is we do a really good job of our superpowers prototyping. We're able to put it in, put it out, and incrementally and improve on it. And sometimes we get, how it is, analysis paralysis, and you get stuck you can figure out all the scenarios in the world till the cows come home, but you never get it off the ground. And that's been a neat thing to see.
Yeah.
Cindy, the other side of that is the party planner. That showed your way, because you didn't just say, feeding when it comes to leadership. So who taught you to cook? Who made it stick for you, or entertain, I should say?
Well, I mean, my dad loved to cook, and so I always cooked with my dad. My mom loved to have parties and have friends over and share our house with those people that we loved, and we always were the place where the big family dinners were. So I love all of that. So really, I guess cooking with my dad is something that probably, I mean, one of our things was we made homemade pizza, and, he loved to make dough. He ended up, he was really, really talented with wedding cakes. And
Wow.
I ended up right after high school, while I was in college, with a flower shop. And so I would do wedding flowers and he would bake the cakes. And it was just kind of a cool synergy. And,
That's really cool. I love to cook. My grandfather, who I spent a lot of time with when I was young, he was a cook in the Army, and so I really cannot think of a meal that he didn't cook. Like he cooked every single meal. My dad cooked
in the Army also.
Right. So he always made big breakfasts, because that was the one meal that was really important. And so he taught me how to make gravy. Everything. He was just that thing. For my mom was a cook in the school system for over 20 years, so she never wanted to cook when she got home. But my grandfather did, but she was an epic baker like that. She still is. So it's neat to see how that transforms us as people.
Yes.
So
yeah.
cool.
The impact.
And I know Jim's a big, Jim and Tammy over there are a big eater. Yeah.
Tammy's a huge, that's her happy place. Like if she's like, whatever, she needs to decompress, she'll go to the kitchen. And we're blessed that we have a big kitchen that has an island. So not only is it her happy place, but then people can come and sit there and she can have conversations. And it really is the heart of the home. I mean, truly is. And that's where everybody hangs out, congregates. And again, if she can put out food and feed people, she's in a happy place. She really is.
It's a great story about you and your dad too, because my daughter is, if there's anything in the world, she will stand next to whoever's in the kitchen and cook. It doesn't matter what it is. So we're teaching her, all the skills as we go, and she's just, anytime you ask her, she's right there. So that's hopefully we'll be doing wedding cakes and flowers.
That'd be nice.
If we're so lucky.
That'd be nice. Cindy, if I can ask one more question before we begin to wrap this up, and I don't really want to wrap this up because spending time as we do, whether it's this or planning a SGA event, it's a joy spending time with you. But if you could leave a piece of advice, for the audience today, something that could launch them down the path of discovery, what would it be? Leadership, diversity, natural gas, entertaining, anything,
Yeah. Okay. So I thought about this, and man, I was looking through some old stuff, and I wanted to really wow you guys. And I really think that, unfortunately, I'll underwhelm, but, your intentions aren't enough. As a leader, as a good person, as a great leader, as a boss, as a friend, it's really not. Your intentions are not enough. And I think that the beauty of all of these tools in our toolbox, whether it's learning about our biases or using superpowers or strength finders, or however it is, whatever tool, assessment, extended disc that you use to learn about yourself, that awareness really does make a difference. The awareness changes things. And so then you take it as far as you want, right? You can go as far as you want to go, as long as you're willing to bring it. But really, it's just not enough to have good intentions. And I didn't mean it that way. Because we really do. Our words matter, man. Words are so important, and they can hurt. And I think about some of those lessons that I've had and understanding the impact that words had. And I try not to forget those. I love it when the words matter in a positive way and make a great impact, but really about understanding how detrimental our words can be to someone, like you said. They need that confidence, or they need that boost, or they need that love, or they need that encouragement. And having a bad day because it started at the crack of dawn, or yesterday's didn't end until the crack of dawn, or whatever that may be, to not let those opportunities shade how you interact with others.
I like that.
I saw something here recently, and I just went and pulled it up. I swear I'm paying attention.
He's not paying attention. He's not paying
This
attention.
is what I do. It's fine. Anyway, we shared it, and we're going through. Well, we've been through, and some others are going through The Power of a Positive Team from John Gordon. And anyway, so we have a channel dedicated to that in Slack, and so people post stuff all the time. Anyway, I posted one the other day, and it's actually from Indiana University Health. And it's on one of their doors, and it says, "Please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Your words matter, your behaviors matter, our patients and our teams matter. Take a slow, deep breath and make sure your energy is in check before you enter."
Yeah.
And it's so simple and easy, but man, so very real, so very hard to do, right? And very intentional. You said something that made me just think of, the old adage of, what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So
right.
yeah, your intentions are definitely not enough. Bring it, as Cindy Mitchell says. Jim, I wasn't even going to ask. That was my final question.
That was it?
I think we've already asked Cindy whether she loves what she does.
Oh, the last time, absolutely.
I think we have to ask her that.
I mean, we could ask her again, but look at her. Look at the what
nerd smile she has on her face right now.
It's pouring out of her, It's pouring out of her. She absolutely loves it. I'll answer it for her. She loves what she does.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I'm in a role that allows me the opportunity to continue to generate helpful content that really moves the needle for people in their leadership journey.
Yeah. I think a few words that I've heard you say over the years, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but let's look at it. Let's look at it. Like if someone has an idea, let's look at it. Cindy's not the type of person to say, no, let's look at it. How can this work? That's
even when it's a game show that is going to be the most ridiculous game show ever. We talked about that earlier with one of the Upsco guys. The fact that SGA trusts us enough after being on a call with all of us says a lot about the association's trust in us.
Yeah.
Well, and then here's something about me is like, I can't wait for it. That's the highlight of the whole event.
We were laughing about it too.
Come on. It's going to be a great event. It's in Charlotte. It's in, what's the date of that again? Do we,
October 16th, I think is the actual date.
18th in Charlotte. Yeah.
We'll share that too. We're probably good at this.
Well, let's do it. Wait, ready? That was called a shameless plug. Oh, wait, I was plugging it. Never mind. Cindy didn't plug it.
All right, Cindy, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I'll let Jimmy do the wrap up, but always a pleasure to have you, and look forward to seeing you out in the wild also.
Yes, thanks, Cindy, for joining us once again. You're a great friend, a great comrade. You do so much for our industry. So thank you to you and everybody at the SGA for all you do. It is seen and felt and understood, and it has a positive impact on our industry. So thank you.
We are consciously biased on Cindy.
You can be anything, be inclusive.
Oh yeah, let's see the shirt. I mean, really. That's the shirt of all shirts today.
If you can be anything, be inclusive. All right. I like it.
Yep.
Love it.
Audience, thank you for joining us today. Please, if you are on the LinkedIn platform, connect with Cindy, follow SGA. There's some great things coming up. And if you're free in October and you want to go to Charlotte, no better opportunity than to see some people perform live there. So we are going to have a great time. Thank you, Cindy, for joining us. Until next week on Coffee with Jim and James, as I always say, stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, James. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.